Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's off to a great start. It's Tuesday. I hope that you guys are off to a great start. Remember what I always say, though. It's not always going to line up the way you want it to. Things aren't always going to go the way you think they should. But you have to remember, if you're still breathing, you're still in the fight. You have to remember that sometimes the things you see as obstacles and delays are simply a part of the process of preparing you for it is you're seeking. One of the challenges I think people don't understand is that many times we're wanting something that if we got it exactly when we wanted, how we wanted it, we wouldn't be able to sustain it. We wouldn't be able to hold on to it because it requires a certain level of awareness, experience, expertise, and so on and so forth. So sometimes that delay is so that you can catch up to the promise, so that you can catch up to the prize, so that you can be capable of fully living and enjoying in this moment that you desire and to create for yourself. So I wanted to just share that with you. Look, today is Tuesday. It's Transformational Tuesday. We're going to talk real briefly about the power of change and how you can exact change in your life and what change may look like. Before I do, I want to remind everyone, look, starting this month on the 23rd, we were initially going to start on the 16th, but obviously with the passing of my mom, we want to get all of this stuff done so that I can be focused. And so we are going to start on the 23rd of that um, of this month, 23rd of this month, and this is a year. 12 months with yours truly. If you look at the link, if you click the link in the description box, it's going to take you to a landing page where you'll not only be able to see the full breadth of what you're going to get in this course, but you'll also be able to observe the course syllabus, what you're going to do every month for a year with me and your cohorts. Who are going to also be in this course. This is an unbelievable opportunity to work with me for 12 months to go into 2024 with a full steam ahead, momentum, moving towards the things you desire in life. Nothing comes easy. Nothing comes just because you say you want it. You have to become it. You have to prepare for it. And that's what we're going to talk about today, the shift. But this is an opportunity to work with me at a fraction of what it costs to work with me one-on-one. There's nothing like the one-on-one experience. Mentioning that, I got contacted last night by a former client who periodically does scholarships. And so he's willing to do 5 half-price scholarships for the bronze package. The bronze package is regularly $3,500, so that means it's cutting half. He's going to pay it for 5 people, but it's only on the deck for today. He believes in seizing opportunities and taking action when the opportunity presents itself. So either you get it or you don't. It'll be up today for the remainder of the day or until 5 people do it. If you click the link and the link is live, it means that the offer is still good and you can take advantage of it. With that out of the way, look, what does change look like? Everybody has these ideas, and with the rapid development and growth of social media, with the emergence of AI, with all the technology there, you got to think we're living in a time where everyone is walking around with a computer in their pocket or in their purse. Life's answers are at your fingertips, and yet we are in a time where more people are depressed than ever before. More people are complaining about their states and positions and situations in life than ever before. And more opportunities exist. So what is the problem? The problem is change in a way that is in opposition of tradition in how you think and believe requires immense commitment. In other words, it's a process, but it begins the moment you take that step in a direction other than the way you have been traveling. You have to purposefully choose that this is no longer going to be the way I move, that this is no longer going to be the way I think. And I said this, what, 10 years ago when talking to a colleague of mine who asked me a question about all the things that are out there that I just mentioned and all the people who have put all this information. Specifically, he was asking about the Black community. And he said, okay, all this information, and he named off people who had contributed, and he named off the John Howard Clarks, the Naeem Agbars, the Francis Cress Welsons, the Amos Wilsons, and he even threw my name in there. And he said, with all this information that's out there, with all this stuff that's presented, all this stuff that should be power, what's the problem? And I said, real simple, facts mean absolutely nothing to the conditioned mind. And it's true. The mind is more powerful than anything you can present to it. And once your mind becomes convinced of something, the only way that you move around that consistently is you have to reshape it, reprogram it, and convince it otherwise. This is why willpower only has a certain amount of force in your life. Why? When you're consciously saying, this is not what I'm going to do, I'm going to do something else, you can consciously will yourself to do something that is in opposition of what you believe in your heart. When I say your heart, I'm not talking emotionally. I'm talking the subconscious, the very seat of your soul, the thing that controls 96% of your behavior is your subconscious. And that's what is going to dictate your move. Most of the stuff you do on autopilot. Your decision making, your moves, your behavior, your actions, your habits, all this stuff is subconsciously driven. You don't have to think about it. This is why you can get in your home, get in your car, decide you're on your way home, and travel a path you've traveled before, and get off into a phone conversation, or get off into your head of thoughts, or get into the music and the radio, and you'll pull in your driveway and you start thinking. You don't even remember the last time you were actually focused on what went on. Your subconscious got you there because your subconscious is just that powerful. But what happens is, if I want my subconscious to give me something that is going to benefit me, then I have to program it. I have to guard my gates. I have to be decisively intentful and deliberate on what I allow into my gates. What am I, first of all, speaking to myself? Self-talk. Oh man, some of the self-talk that we harbor is absolutely detrimental to the life that we say we want to live. I'm broke. I'm sick, and I'm worried to death. And this ain't ever going to happen for me. All these different things. One of the things that I used to do, and I've told this story before, and I didn't even realize I was doing it. It was in my late 20s. It was right after I had lost my grandfather. Those of you know me know my great grandfather also adopted and reared me, so he's my dad. So right after I lost my pops on Thanksgiving of '92, this year, I mean, this time of the year is really just crazy for me, by the way, because so much has not gone right for me to still embrace it. It's nothing but the power of God moving through me. But anyway, I had just lost him, so I was kind of off, and I went from seeming like everything I touched just turned to gold to nothing was working, and I couldn't figure it out. And so I called my mentor, and we were having a phone conversation, and about 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes into the conversation, he says, I already know what the problem is. I said, man, we just started talking. You need to let me tell. And he said, no, I already know what the problem is. And I said, what's that? He said, we've been on the phone probably 15 or 20 minutes, and you said I can't win for losing at least 4 times. Whatever you declare becomes your reality. What did God say to Job? You shall declare a thing and it shall be established for you. And see, the thing is, when we talk about faith and we talk about some of the principles within the Bible, when we talk about the principles of psychology and visualization and all these other things, we tend to think of faith. And when we say you should declare a thing, we tend to think of faith in that type of situation as positive. So when we say you declare a thing, you only think about the positive. No, you shall declare a thing, whether good or bad, and it shall be established. A lot of you are declaring the very thing that you say you don't want to deal with. A lot of you are declaring the thing that is moving in on you because it is the natural thought, it is the natural idea, it is the natural belief, it is the natural expectation, because you haven't taken time to what, and this is why in the book of Philippians, in Paul's letter to the church in Philippi, he's telling them, he says, hey, whatever thing is pure, whatever thing is good, whatever thing is noble, whatever thing is good report, and he's going on. He's talking about all these are the things you meditate on. He used the word meditate in the Greek. What does it mean? It means give attention to. It means to put forth in one's mind and focus on and give attention to in great depth. That's the thing you focus on. Why? Because the thing you focus on is the thing you feel. The thing you feel anchors in the emotion of the feeling, and it becomes an anchor of reality. It is either positive or negative, but it will anchor you. What are you focusing on? Some of you can't escape the darkness of hurt, harm, and misery because you are focusing on the thing that caused it. You've got to focus on the way out. You got to look at it and say, hey, look, I don't like where I'm at. If you don't like where you're at, you can't focus on where you're at. You have to focus on where you're going. You have to become committed enough to say, this isn't the life I'm going to live. Now, there's no magic potion. It's no thing that you're going to do and automatically, just like that, things change, but things will change dramatically, instantaneously, the moment you decide that you're changing. So, in other words, what am I saying? I'm saying you change it first in your mind. You change it first in your mind. When you change it in your mind, your subconscious, then you change it in your speech. Because what? Christ said, out of the abundance of the what? The heart, the mouth speaks. See, we know that Solomon says that the power of life and death is what? In the tongue. Death says, so the power of life and death is in the tongue. Then we're speaking either life or death into our situations, into our circumstances. Then where is that speech coming from? Christ said it's coming from the heart. It's coming from the what? Subconscious. What are you programming? Are you programming negativity? What are you watching predominantly on television? What are you listening to predominantly on the radio? What books are you reading predominantly? Who do you have in your inner circle that you are sitting around and listening to? Are you listening to the minimum minded naysayers that constantly talk about what's wrong and what can't be done? Or have you found some people that you've brought into your circle that are doing exceptionally, exceedingly, and abundantly above anything you've ever even imagined before, because God's working in their life and working through them so that they can minister to you through encouragement, through expertise, through advice, and through practice. See, success leaves clues. You need to be around people who are doing things that you say you want to do so that you, first of all, can see that it's possible. Second of all, you can see their movements. What time do they wake up in the morning? What type of books do they read? What are the conversations they engage in? What things do they avoid? What type of food do they eat? When they talk about themselves, how do they refer to themselves? This is the thing that I want to get across to you, that there are exceptional and extraordinary things waiting on you, but you're going to have to move on them. Transformation is a process, but it begins the moment that you decide, I want something different and I'm committed. It's how far are you willing to go? What's the distance you're prepared to go to have the things you say you want to have? See, it's not easy. I can promise you that. It's not going to, all life isn't going to lay down for you. I can promise you that. But what I can tell you is that whatever you put out comes back to you. Whatever you plant and cultivate, it bears fruit. Now, the thing is, sometimes it's a gestation and germination period that you haven't stood up and you haven't given time to bear fruit. See, every seed has a germination period, a gestation period. What is it? It's from the time I plant it, how long does it take to draw upon it the nutrients in the soil in which I planted it, and therefore begin its evolutionary process of metamorphosis to become the thing that I planted. See, if I plant a rose seed, a rose bush seed, it has a different germination period than the oak tree or the acorn, which produces an oak tree, and they're going to germinate at a different pace, and they're going to produce a different seed. I mean, a different bearing out of what the seed represents. So it's going to take me longer to get the oak tree, but once I get the oak tree, I'll have the oak tree longer. It'll provide much more shade. It'll provide a lot more richness in my life. Now, the rose will provide me a much quicker experience and a much beautiful experience, but the experience will be be fleeting. So sometimes you need something quick just to remind you how beautiful God is in the moment. But also you got to know that I'm planting some things that are going to have foundational roots that are going to take me far beyond the moment of that I'm looking for now, that are literally going to be things that I can pass down to my seed, my progeny, my offspring, and they're going to be able to take it, and they're going to be able to run with it. They're going to be able to grow with it because of what? My willingness to see it through. My willingness to sit up and say, you know what, I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to keep pushing until I have it. My willingness to sit up and say, you know what, I don't care what's going on in the moment. I'm going to hold on to the promise. I'm going to push through this cycle of delay. I'm going to push through this cycle of disappointment. I'm going to push through this cycle of loss. I'm going to push through this cycle of frustration. Why? Because on the other side is the promise. Transformation is a process. You are consistently becoming the thing necessary to have what it is you say you want to have. You are consistently developing into someone more powerful, more forceful, more impactful, with an expanding reach and an ability to touch lives. What are you speaking into your existence? What are you declaring about your future? What are you holding on to that you need to let go of? Oh, we have so much inside of us that we keep compressed because we refuse to let go of those limiting beliefs. We have so much force within us that we keep concealed because we don't want to explore the possibilities of tomorrow because they come with a little uncertainty. You got to put some skin in the game. You've got to take some risk. You've got to open your mind up and your heart to pursuing something beyond what you've experienced in your past. It's time to pick up the pen of your life and write a new narrative. Oh, what a beautiful thing it is to write that narrative. What a beautiful thing it is to sit up and say, you know, I'm about to do something exceptional. I'm about to do something extraordinary, phenomenal, unbelievable, unimaginable. He said he can do exceedingly abundantly above all you ask to think. Look at the redundance and the power that exceedingly abundantly above. Not just what you can see or what other people got, but he says exceedingly abundantly above all you can ask or even imagine. That's the limitations. Your imagination is your limitation. But so many of us are still walking in the pits of the despair of our past. We're anchored in the hurts of yesterday to the point that we can't truly shake free and walk into the beauty of what's in front of us. It's time to let it go. It's time to walk into something better. It's time to walk into something. And here's my thing, it's not going to be easy. Stop thinking that because it's hard, that's God telling you that you don't need to do it. No, that's probably God saying it's just on the other side of that fear. It's on the other side of that pain. It's on the other side of that delay. It's on the other side of that frustration. It's God telling you, don't you dare quit right now. You know what I say. Once I make up in my mind to do something, one or two things are going to happen. I'm going to either get it or I'm going to die trying. There is no expiration date on it. There is no point of pain and discomfort that's going to make me let it go. No surrender, no retreat is my battle cry. Some of you are sitting up and you're constantly pressing God to deliver you from the giants you were designed to slay. Everybody has something that you're supposed to show up here and shake up, but you're playing small. Everybody's got something you are meant to show up and shift, but you keep playing small. No, make today the day that you say, no more small. sights, no more dwarfed goals and colorless dreams, no more chitsy giving, no more thinking in small things. You know my favorite quote: if the vision that you have for your life isn't so huge that it intimidates you, there's a good chance it's insulting God. God didn't design you for mediocrity. God didn't design you to be average. God designed you to be a representation of the force of what's possible in this world. The greatest, I tell people all the time, it's not your words that preach the best sermon. It's not your words that evangelize. It's your actions. It's your state of mind, even in adversity. Ain't nothing like somebody looking at you going, how in the world is he still doing XYZ with this? How in the world is she still able to smile? And I know she's going through this. So you don't know the whole story. Let me tell you about it. And that's how when somebody can look at you and say, even when it's bad, it's good. Did you hear me? And this isn't some Jedi mind trick. This isn't something that this is sitting up saying that even in the darkest hour, the presence of God lights on me and does things inside of me that the enemy is confounded by. You got to get yourself to a place where you stop consulting your past. Stop consulting your situations. Stop consulting your circumstances. And you start saying, you know what? I'm about to do something beyond what is expected because that's what I'm designed to do. I'm built for this. Look, I thank you for letting me invade your space. I thank you for stopping in. I want to encourage you to see the greatness of God in the darkest of places, because God dwells in the darkness. That's what Solomon said. God dwells even in the tense and dense darkness does God dwell. There's no place you're going to find yourself in this life that God isn't present and ready to show up in your life, in your situation, and do something exceptional and extraordinary in you and through you, so that not only you are blessed, but those who are in your periphery are blessed as well. Look, as I said, if you want to be a part of this immersion that we're doing over the next 12 months, starting on the 23rd of this month, if you want to be a part of busting the doors down of 2024 with momentum, with faith and power, the sign up information is in the description box. If you want to take advantage of this half off scholarship that's good for today, first 5 people that sign up, one of my former clients who is doing quite well drops in periodically and does scholarships. So there are 5 scholarships, half off for each gold package. That information is in there. Take advantage of that. If you want to work with me on a one-on-one basis for the next 12 weeks, there's an opportunity to do that. But whatever you do, you've got to do something different. You can't keep doing the same thing expecting to get different results. That's the very definition of insanity. But yet we do that at a massive rate. Like I told you at the beginning of this thing, we're in a time where there's everything you can imagine at our fingertips, and we're more miserable than ever before. We're more depressed than ever before. We're more frustrated and angry than ever before. Why? Because we're so buried in the moment of what we don't like that we refuse to see the possibilities. You've got to go out and take life, and you've got to sit up and use the power of God inside of you to shake up the world around you. That's where your power is getting out of that box of comfort. On that note, look, I am out. As I always say, I live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I die on E. And I challenge you to do the same thing. And I hope to be working with some of you in the coming weeks. On that note, look, you guys have an unbelievable remainder of your day. I'm out of here.